Hello YouTube, and welcome back to our family. If you want to learn more about the reptile hobby's favourite, the ball python, then you're in the right place. So do us a favour, thumb us up, strike that like button, get down in the comments section, keep the interactions coming. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to stay notified of any future content. TOR has had a phenomenal season this season. It is coming to an end now, but next season promises to blow this season out of the water, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And I invite you all to watch TOR grow into what I know it can be. So thank you all for watching, and roll that intro. Today's video then, guys, I'm going to explain how I ship snakes and the two methods that I use. It's Tuesday today. The Sunday just gone was the IHH Doncaster show. I was there. I did get a chance to meet a lot of people and put a lot of faces to names. I did try my best to get some footage while I was down there, but to be honest, I was far too preoccupied in looking at snakes and meeting a lot of new people, and just I was far too excited for that. So I did get a little bit of footage, but it's not really YouTube worthy. So on the next show I will try and get some decent footage for you guys that didn't make the journey. It's lucky for me because it's only an hour away. I work in Doncaster anyway, so I make that journey pretty much daily. So it's no great shakes for me. So that's enough waffle for me, guys. We'll get down to the video on how I ship snakes using Ridgeway and Walkers. Right, guys, there's two methods that I use for shipping snakes. The first one being your traditional courier service. Use a registered courier. I typically use Ridgeway. They're very good and they put their animals first. Just a bit of story time. I had a collection due last week. I got a text from the driver saying that the van had broke down, and then I had Simon ring me up and explain, apologise for what had happened, and said that the animal would be picked up next week. So, you know, just understand that these things happen, and you know, just a bit of courtesy to the customers. They give me a call, explain what had happened, and you know, it wasn't a problem. I know when I've used other courier services, when they've had things go wrong, I haven't received a phone call, just a generic text message, and for us to book ourselves onto the next one, which I didn't think was very fair. So I much prefer that customer service. So Ridgeway is a very good courier to use, and it's very simple and easy. So I ship the snakes in a container like this, clear lid. I like these black tubs. I think it helps the snake feel more secure while it's in transit. And when it is shipped off, it goes into I've actually seen them on the back of the vans. They sort of look like incubators, if you like, and it's temperature controlled. Nothing's sliding around in there, and 100% success rate whenever I've used Ridgeway, and I've used them a lot. So snake in its tub like that. I've got the buyer's details on there, the snake's details. Look, this one's trying to bite me through the lid. I've also got stickers and business cards in there. I've put them in a plastic bag in case a snake decides to defecate all over it. What I sometimes do as well is I will put some of the snake's dirty substrate in here with it if it's a particularly picky feeder. This snake isn't, but if it's a bit of a picky feeder, then a bit of the old dirty substrate in the bottom of the tub, so that when the buyer can then put that in its closure with it, so that it's got that familiar smell. And I sometimes think that helps them. It might not, but you know, it can't hurt, and it seems to work. So Yeah, and with Ridgeway, like I said, it is as simple as that. All goes in there, the driver picks up that. Usually they'll give it a health check, make sure everything's healthy, it's well fed, which I like, and tape the lid down. I have had a snake escape in transit before, and that is a nightmare. So, and I was using elastic bands then, so don't use elastic bands, use tape. So there's the lid, all taped down, and that is that snake good to go. So the next one then, as you've probably already seen, I've got a cardboard box here, and inside of that there is another styrofoam box, and I buy those from Starlight Food Packaging. I'll put the link in the description. They're very inexpensive. It works out better if you buy in bulk, like everything. And I use these for the Walker's couriers. Now, when I first heard about these on Gavin at Balls to Use channel, I was skeptical, but I soon found out, as soon as you understand the process, they are very reliable, very good. And what you can actually do is you can book the service, and the snake can be booked, collected, and then delivered within the same week. So that's definitely one of the pros of that service. There are cons as well, which I'm going to get into now. Like, we have to take certain precautions because the Walker's vans, they're not heated like your traditional courier service will be. But we have to find our own ways of managing that. And it's just a second courier service to have in your armory, you know, as a snake breeder. If you want to get a snake to your customers quickly and safely, then Walkers is the way to go. If you've got a bit more, if you've got a bit more time, you can always ship with your couriers. But I sometimes think, because I'm starting to feel that because Walkers is a lot faster, the snake's in transit for less time, so that's less stress on the animal. So I'll leave it up to your own interpretation, guys, and you make your minds up as you will. But I use both, and both are very, very good. So we'll start off with the box then. Another good thing about these is we can ship multiple snakes this way, under this in the same price. Some couriers will do that, and some won't. So get that lid off. Right, we've got a heat pack in here. This one's already spent. I was experimenting with the temperatures in this one. I have already shipped about 10 snakes this way. Every single one's been successful. I've not had a problem. The only thing that I had go wrong is one of the drivers pulled up at my house, didn't get out of the van, didn't knock on the door, and just couldn't be bothered that day. I've since been informed by Walkers that driver is now gone. The other guy that I've had since is a guy called Steve. He's very good. He always arrives on time. He's very friendly. He's very careful when loading the box onto the van, which is something I was watching for. And he labels it up even though I've already put a label on it. So we go in, the heat pack, the red line up, cover it with tissue paper. Just before we get into that, so the heat packs themselves, I get these from Heat Packs UK. I'll also leave the link in the description. These are the 72-hour ones. It's a much more sort of moderate release of heat. It's much better. Always read the instructions on the back, but I'm going to show you how I do it, which is virtually sticking to the instructions on the back. There are a couple of things that I'll deviate from, but these aren't just for shipping snakes. They use it for fish, crickets, lizards, even plant life, and even some chemicals as well, which I found strange. But anyway, so these heat packs, they are very good. I use a 72-hour heat packs. Walkers always guarantee a 48-hour delivery. Every single snake that I've shipped with them has arrived within 24 hours of it being collected. So 72 hours is slightly overkill, but you'd rather have that. If something does go wrong in transit, it's got enough time in heat for it to be returned to sender, and it'll still be heated for that whole duration. So if something that you need to understand about these packs, once you get them, give them a feel. If it's soft, you're all good. If it's gone hard, like this one that I had a test with now, that's gone hard now, and that's because it's spent. You know, if you don't know how these heat packs work, they're full of iron powder and salts, and as soon as you open this packaging and it comes into contact with oxygen, you probably don't, if you didn't already know, iron produces heat as it oxidizes, so that's what makes the heat. And it's in these 72 hours, it's a very moderate release. It'll raise the temperature up to 115 Fahrenheit, and then it'll level out and sustain the temperature there. So when I've shipped these snakes, I think customers have been a little bit dubious about this method, and it's you've got to understand that we're not trying to give the snake the optimal heat that it would get in its enclosure. We're trying to give it just that middle ground. When the snakes have arrived and customers have sent me pictures with like the temp gun, it's sort of to the lower 80s, which is good. That's probably warmer than the cool side of a snake tub, and I would rather the snake be cooler than it be too hot. But we're not aiming to give it its hotspot heat. And I definitely don't recommend, once the snake's in here, it being like, if we put the pack underneath the paper, I don't recommend the snake being placed directly over the top of the heat, just in case it does go above the recommended heat, which would ultimately end up in killing the snake, and we don't want that. So if I've got the heat mat here, I will put the snake this side. The box has been poked with holes. We need the holes. I don't know if you can see them, but they're here and here. It has got holes on all sides. One, so the snake can breathe for air exchange, and obviously the heat pack needs oxygen to work. So all I'll do then is take this snake out. I'm shipping this butter pastel out tomorrow. She's leaving me. It's not a snake I've ever intended on breeding. She is a butter, and I work with a lesser here, so I don't want to mix those two genes, because I wouldn't be able to tell the offspring apart. So with adults, I'll use a snake bag. So let's get that open. In she goes. I'm going to leave enough space in the bag for the snake to move around, and don't use a tie wrap or a tape or anything that you're going to need to use a blade to open it. Just tie it off. That way there's no risk of the snake being harmed with a blade once it gets to its new home. So there it is, nice tight knot. Snake's not getting out of there, no way, and it's within a box anyway, so even if it did, it's not going to come to any harm. So I'm putting the snake on the opposite side then to where the heat is, and then all I'm going to do is just pack it out. You can use newspaper, unprinted newspaper, or some of this packaging paper that I've got here. This goes back on. Down and tape it shut. I'm not going to do that yet, because I'm going to box this up first thing in the morning, which is when walkers are arriving. They've already texted me to let me know what time they're coming, and then they'll do the same with the customer. a few hours before they arrive, they'll send a text message. So just to ensure smooth transition for it all, I put these labels on just to ensure that I'm doing all I can to make sure that the delivery driver that collects it is not necessarily going to be the one that drops it off, because it gets dropped off at a warehouse or a checkpoint in between. And if it is a reptile or an animal that, because they ship birds and fish and all sorts, so if it is an animal that requires heat, it goes into the warm room. Again, it's not going to be the optimal temperatures for that species, because they deliver all kinds of different species, but it's not going to be getting cold. So it'll probably go into there for a few hours. The delivery driver then picks it up and then takes it to its final destination, and that's how I've had it explained to me how it works. So I've take the lid down, and then this snake gets picked up in the morning. There you go, got something from that, guys. As always, I can't take all the credit. It was Mr. Balls to You himself that put me on to that, and that was only through watching his videos like I normally do anyway. I was nervous about using them to start with. It's very nerve-wracking, but I did roll the dice and it's paid off. They are very good. The snakes that have been delivered through Walkers so far, they've all gone on to do absolutely fine. I've had nothing back from the customers saying that the snake's stressed out and it's not eating or anything like that. They're all eating, everything's done fine. It is working, and as I said, the proof is in the pudding. So I'm going to keep it rolling with that. I am looking to improve every time. Some of the customers that I've used through this method, I've messaged them, send me pictures of temp gunning inside the box once it's arrived, because I want to know what the temperature is inside that box while it's being shipped. I've done a couple of experiments with it here myself, like leaving a heat pack in a box and leaving it and checking the temperatures, and it's all pretty rock solid. The higher 70s to lower 80s, you know, is a fine temperature for a ball python to sit at for a 24-hour journey. Like I said, we're not aiming for the hotspot temperatures, because it's either in a box or in a pillowcase where it can't move, it can't thermoregulate anyway. So I would rather it be a little bit cooler than it be a little bit hotter, because obviously that's less damaging for the snake. And less stressful, and there is always going to be stress involved when shipping a snake, but I'm just trying to do everything that I can to minimise on that, and that's basically the aim. Everything here is to minimise. Everything I'm doing is to minimise on the stress. So while I was in Doncaster in the IHS show, there was a couple of people actually that come up to me, and there was two guys behind one of the tables vending who'd said that they'd been watching the channel, and that response very much took me by surprise. But thank you very, very much for the support, guys. And that just leaves another thank you to you all for watching, and I will see you on the next one. The next video will probably be out on a Monday. I'm gonna call it a day on the Wednesdays now, I think. So yeah, keep your eye out for that one. The next video will be on Monday. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.